I've been a huge fan of Pokemon for the majority of my life, and I'm always excited for new announcements for games. And we recently got an announcement for a brand new form for the Pokemon Lycanroc. You see, Rockruff evolves into Lycanroc, but depending on what time of the day and what version is being played, Rockruff will evolve into one of two versions of Lycanroc, midday and midnight. I like both versions, so since we just got a new form announced, I'm excited to see it. Oh, that's it? It's underwhelming. It's just a mix of the two. It could have really used recoloring to make it look distinctive. Yeah, it's a third version game. We shouldn't expect much from these, but look at the others like Shaman Sky or the Rotom forms. They're distinct and unique enough from the base forms where this is just a poor mishmash of the two. It's not that this is a bad design, because it's not. If these two forms of Lycanroc ceased to exist and this was the only form, I'd still be fine with that. But that did get me thinking. There are Pokemon designs that I really don't like. It's just like music. I love some of them and I really dislike others. Pokemon are more on the surface than just designs. Typing, stats, personalities, movesets, a lot of them make them individuals. But let's be shallow and judge them on how they look. The rules for this video are simple. To make this list, I have to hate the Pokemon's design. Now, let's get this straight. Just because a Pokemon's made this list does not mean I hate them. I do really like some of the Pokemon on this list, but not just off of design, or design at all, really. And of course, this is just my own personal opinion, it's not a difficult concept, so don't throw a tantrum if you like some of the Pokemon on this list. So, let's get started. Alomomola. Trigger warning, I'm gonna mess up its name a lot and you're gonna deal with it. It's a fish. It's a heart. It's a fish heart. We've done this before! Seriously, I understand Generation 5 was supposed to be a reboot of the series, but come on. Out of all the Pokemon to reboot in this gen, why was Love Disc one you picked? Making new designs with intent of inspiration from old designs is lazy, but with over 400 Pokemon at that time, and over 800 now, it's understandable. But why didn't they just let Love Disc evolve into Alomomola? Yeah, Love Disc has an admittedly worse design than Alomomola does, and Alomomola has more complexity than Love Disc, admittedly, but screw it, I'm making both of them number 10. They're two separate, pink heart-shaped, pure water type fish Pokemon that aren't related to each other in any type of way. Out of all the, I put in quotes, inspired Gen 5 designs, this was clearly the laziest. Not the worst from this gen, though. No, we aren't even there yet. Druddigon. We continue ragging on Gen 5 with Druddigon, the weirdest coloring I've ever seen on a Pokemon. It's this blue dragon with red spikes and a head that's also just this red spiky shelled thing. On paper, that might not sound too bad, but like, look at this thing. Okay, maybe its shiny fixes that coloring problem. Okay, never mind, it actually manages to make it worse. It's not just the Crayola coloring I dislike on this thing, it just overall looks really awkward. Its tiny ass legs and long monkey arms, its back all hunched over, its wings are looking super undeveloped. Those things definitely can't hold the rest of it up, like come on. Some designs like this can be acceptable if it's a part of an evolutionary line and it takes those awkward features and grows into something special. But this Pokemon is a single staged evolutionary line, meaning this is literally it. An evolution could have made this design work, but my god, it really does not work at all. Cast form. This is a very basic design, and I like its alternate forms, but I'm sorry, maybe I'm just immature, but this thing has visible testicles and it's making me feel a little uncomfortable. Again, its alternate forms that are dependent on the type of weather do look cool and cute, and I think a lot of that is because they don't have testicles. Back to ragging on Generation 5 designs. The Generation 5 middle legendary Pokemon Kyurem has always had a weirder design in comparison to the other legendaries in its category. But it doesn't have a bad design, it just looks like it's missing something. So on paper, fusing them with the original game's mascots for the sequel could work and resolve some of the major design flaws Kyurem has. However, Reshiram and Zekrom were arguably over-designed a bit. I personally wouldn't say any Pokemon were quote-unquote over-designed, with the exception of Kyurem White. Kyurem Black is also overdone, but it just barely works and isn't unbearable to look at. It's kind of cool at certain points. Kyurem White, on the other hand, looks absolutely ridiculous. It genuinely just looks really awkward. A legendary, especially a box art mascot legendary, should not look awkward. Zekrom and Kyurem combined actually have a good balanced split of the two, but Reshiram's fusion with Kyurem is a clunky mess. Its face doesn't look right. Its shoulder padding, sure, why not? Its shoulder paddings don't look cool. Its feet, specifically the weird arced up middle toes, really look weird. Reshiram's tail fusion looks super bulky in a furry kind of way, which, yes, doesn't make that much sense. Take all those into account. Now look at Kyurem Black. Yeah, it's awkward, and a lot of my complaints with Druddigon do apply to this form. But taking account of my complaints with Kyurem White, looking at them side to side is pretty easy to pick which one looks better. At least for me. Klink, Klang, and Klinklang. It's gears. It evolves and gets another bigger gear. And then it evolves again. And it gets a new gear and chastity belt. The gear concept is fine enough, but they really didn't bother changing that much. They literally just added the bare minimum amount of new gears to make it a new Pokemon. The only real difference from Klink to Klang is that one of those gears loses its face. Why? Where did that face go? Why did it go? Is that black square encircling the big gear eyes and that white arrow is its mouth? What even are these things? Some of these are hard to get creative and why they suck, because ones like these are just bad in a boring or lazy way. But this doesn't just apply to newer gens. Oh no. Generation 1 also had bad designs, like Grimer and Muck. Whoa, it's Derpy Sludge and it evolves into bigger, eviler Sludge! Now let me get this straight. I'm mostly talking about the original forms of these Pokemon. The Alolan forms do redeem part of this, mostly that there's something here besides, oh look, Sludge! Grimer has a weird neckbeard looking yellow sludge around the bottom of his mouth, which is actually based off of when water and oil mix, it makes a yellow substance. And Alolan Muck has its green, yellow, and pink, and they are frequently flowing through it, and it looks really cool. They are great minor touches to really improve on an evolutionary line that really does stink visually. And probably literally. Whenever I see people say all the Generation 5 designs suck and that the Generation 1 designs are all way better, Grimer and Muck are both two examples I bring up to show that even Gen 1 has bad designs. There are a ton of awesome and iconic designs in this generation, but also like literally every other gen, some of them just really suck. A lot of people crap all over Voltorb for being uninspired and just a carbon copy of the Pokeball. But at the absolute least, the Pokeball is an original design, and Voltorb was introduced in Generation 1 alongside the Pokeball. If it was introduced in any other generation, it honestly would have been a little uninspired, probably making this list, but since they both came out at the exact same time, it's not a completely lame design. What is turning its body upside down, swapping the mouth and eyes, and calling it an evolution. Yeah, Electro is probably the laziest design out of all the 800 plus designs they've ever made over the past 21 years. I do like the theory of these things being Pokeballs haunted by ghost-type Pokemon, but even with that, this thing is just an upside-down, bigger Pokeball. Voltorb probably should have just stayed a single-stage evolutionary line, or have evolved into a Great Ball, or an Ultra Ball, or a Master Ball, or something like that. But at least it's an artificial Pokemon. It would really be stupid if an organic Pokemon was based in a Pokeball. Oh, wait a minute. Foongus and Amoonguss. Really? Yeah, we've had multiple mushroom Pokemon, and that's fine. There are different types of mushrooms, so it's fine for there to be different types of mushroom Pokemon. But why the hell is one of the lines based around a mass-produced item? Actually, no. How is that the case? Foongus is literally just a mushroom with a top looking like a Pokeball. That literally doesn't make any logical sense. But okay, whatever, it's stupid. What's borderline atrocious is Amoonguss. Okay, so it's a mushroom with arms and hands. Except the hands are also Pokeballs. And yes, that's the only noteworthy change from Foongus to Amoonguss. Again, how is this genetically possible? I really dislike bats, so much so you aren't going to see pictures of the animal. They're nasty, fuzzy little creatures, so translating them into Pokemon could go horribly wrong. For Pokemon like Crobat and Noivern really look awesome, while the former still looks a lot like a bat. And if putting Gliscor's line into the conversation, they also look really cool. They're a nice mixture of a bat and a scorpion, and it's honestly one of my favorite Pokemon in both design and overall appeal. But the bat Pokemon that isn't translated well is Swoobat. Like, seriously, what the hell is this thing's deal? Its ears, low-key looks like a dunce hat. Its weird bottom buck teeth, its adorable eyes that don't really mesh with the rest of its design. Its coloring was whatever, nothing all that wrong here. Oh, and its hard nose. Okay, Swoobat's pre-evolution, Woobat, is also a dumb-looking Pokemon, but it's also bland enough for me to not really care. It's a fluff ball with bat wings and a single tooth and an admittedly dumb nose. The nostril is heart-shaped, but okay, fine, whatever, it's not a big deal. If it was real, I'd be horrified by it, but it's not. But when Woobat evolves into Swoobat, its whole nose shapes into a heart. Like, its nose molds based off of its nostril. How does that even work? Its nose literally changes shape to match the nostril. Who? Why? Where? When? What? Originally, Swoobat was going to take number 1, since I don't like the Pokemon in any capacity, really. But the more I thought about it, there is one Pokemon I do like using when I rarely play competitively, whose design I just don't like in the slightest. And that title goes to Rhyperior. The more I think about it, the more I just hate Rhyperior's design, and it's for many reasons. Let's first look at Rhydon, its pre-evolution. Rhydon was the first Pokemon ever designed, and you can sort of tell. It's basic, yet very strong. It has a great design, but there's nothing crazy here that makes it really stick out. It's a great design because of all that. It's not bland and it's not ridiculous. It works very well. Most people won't even argue that comment. Now, let's evolve it into Rhyperior. Why did we do this? Okay, in Generation 4 they added a ton of evolutions to previous Pokemon, particularly Generations 1 and 2. And a lot of them were great improvements, like Porygon Z, Togekiss, and Mamoswine. Some of them also helped weaker Pokemon that were single stages, like Weavile, Yanmega, and Gliscor. However, when I look at Yanma, Gligar, Sneasel, Porygon 2, and especially Piloswine and Togetic, I'd say an evolution was definitely viable in its design. The last two look like they have an evolution because they just look sort of awkward. But Rhydon does not apply there. Again, it looks great, and it all goes downhill when it evolves. Rhydon has great coloring with it. Gray with a tan horn and belly, with white claws and subtle red eyes. But for whatever reason, Rhyperior becomes a way darker gray. The tan parts become the original lighter gray. And they add a ton of orange stones to make it look like a stupid crossing guard. And why does Rhyperior have 6 visible buck teeth? Admittedly, I say Rhydon's only real flaw are the 2 teeth that hang out of its mouth when closed, but it's honestly not that noticeable with the light gray skin, and his mouth is usually not fully closed. But with Rhyperior's darker skin and way more messed up teeth in terms of numbers, it looks stupid. And why is one of the orange stones on his crotch? Also, the stones on his head make him look like he has... Thank you, Julia, honey. And why does it have holes in its arms? Rhydon didn't, so why did this thing get weird cannon arms? This is such a drastic design, and I'm only okay with its existence because of Eviolite working on Rhydon to make it bulkier stat-wise, and again, this thing does feel a decent enough niche and competitive for me to use it. I genuinely have so many problems with this thing's design, I just had to put it here. It's such an insane downgrade from Rhydon, and it's a shame to see this gross thing take the top of its evolution line. Game Freak, what were you thinking? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see me and my best friend John play through Pokemon Yellow on our gaming channel, there's the playlist right there. And if you want to see me review the top 20 for the summer of Billboard, there's the link right there. I also have a Twitter, and I would really appreciate it if you guys follow that Twitter, and of course subscribe for more videos. Talk to you guys later.